What's up, Dolphins fans? We have a developing story on our hands as there is a report out there on Friday morning that quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is apparently thinking of holding out and has been holding out during these voluntary workouts. I have a lot of thoughts on if this report is actually true or not. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff, and it all started with this report from Jonathan Jones of CBS Sports on Friday morning saying the Dolphins quarterback Tua has skipped the majority of voluntary offseason work as a long-term extension with Miami has yet to materialize. So there was a lot of people out there that thought, what does this mean? Tua is holding out in hopes of getting a massive contract extension from Chris Grier and the Miami Dolphins. I have some thoughts on that, but make sure you are subscribed because we will have you updated on all Tua contract news, whether it be him holding out and if that actually comes to fruition or if he actually gets a long-term deal with Miami. We'll have you covered, so hit that sub button right now. I'll say this, I'm not worried one bit, and I don't think Tua is the type of player to hold out, so I am not that concerned. And I also think Chris Grier and Miami are working towards getting an extension done this offseason, so they don't have to worry about him being unhappy, playing on the franchise tag in a year or so because he is playing out his fifth-year option this upcoming season. I also feel like this report from Jonathan Jones is a bit reckless. There is evidence out there that he has been at least at a voluntary workout for the Miami Dolphins in this offseason. I also think the verbatim he used in the language doesn't really signal, I should say, that he is going to hold out. Here is exactly what he had to say in that article. He said the Miami Dolphins will begin team drills on Monday as a part of their voluntary organized team activities, aka OTAs, and it's unclear whether starting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa will be a part of them. This is the part I'm taking away. It's unclear. So he doesn't know anything. Like, he doesn't have concrete information that Tua is not going to show up to these voluntary OTAs. He just says it is a possibility, I guess. It's unclear. Like, what does that mean? That doesn't signify to me that it's going to actually happen. Then this part from Jonathan Jones. Tagovailoa has been absent for the large majority of voluntary offseason work since the Dolphins reported back April 15th. Sources close to the situation told CBS Sports that is in stark contrast to his first 4 seasons in the league when Tua was present for most of voluntary work. Well, that's not even accurate. He said since April 15th. Tua was working out with the Miami Dolphins a month ago, and there is proof to show for it. So this report to me is just completely inaccurate. For example, the Dolphins put out this tweet, getting that work in. Look at the date, April 19th. And they attached a series of photos with it. Did the Dolphins just sign a left-handed Samoan quarterback that looks exactly like Tua Tagovailoa without us knowing? Because I'm pretty sure that's Tua. And if he was there working out on April 19th, that does not mean he has not or been absent for every voluntary OTA or workout in this offseason. So to me, what are we doing here? This feels like a non-story in something that is kind of a farce, if you will. I am not buying this report from Jonathan Jones of Tua holding out. Now, I'll say this, though. Mandatory workouts are June 4th. If he misses those, then we'll have to come on here and have a different discussion. But at least as of now, I'm not concerned one bit. Do you share that same sentiment as me? Do you believe this Tua report? Type Y for yes or type N for no. I'm not believing it one bit, but maybe you are. Let me know down below. The question that we are going to have to ask now, though, as we move throughout this offseason and have a conversation surrounding Tua, is will an extension actually get done this offseason? I do believe that, obviously, Tua and the Miami Dolphins want to get it done this offseason, but will they do it? Because there are 2 years of team control still left on the table after this year with the ability to use the franchise tag. Well, we do have an idea of what an extension would look like for the left-handed quarterback because just earlier this week on Monday, Jared Goff got a 4-year extension from the Detroit Lions worth $212 million, $170 million guaranteed, and $53 million on annual average salary. I believe this is a very close framework to what Tua would get from Chris Grier and the Dolphins, because Jared Goff and Tua are very similar in terms of their history in the NFL and over the past couple seasons. They are in the same tier as quarterback. I'll explain why in just a second. But I want to make sure the Dolphins fans are hooked up for the regular season, because you got to rep Miami when the Dolphins are on the football field on Sundays. And the best way to do that is getting this 2 t-shirt combo, which is $15 off, by the way, at chatsports.com/Dolphins combo. I have the 2 shirts on the way right now. I got the $15 off as well. You can too. So grab the link in the description and comments, chatsports.com/Dolphins combo. All right, let's revisit these 2 quarterbacks now, because they really are just the same in terms of statistical output. Goff has played 4 more games over the last 4 seasons and totaled just about 800 and change in terms of yards more, 5 more touchdowns, 3 less INTs. Tua does have the quarterback rating advantage, but if you were to prorate and really just average out what Tua has averaged in 4 games, Tua would then have more touchdowns and more yards than Jared Goff over the past 2 years. And some people might be quick to say that, well, Tua has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to throw the football to. Let's not act like Jared Goff has scrubs. He has an elite offensive line, like a top 5, top 10 group in the NFL, mixed with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta a year ago. You got Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, Jared Goff has weapons to throw to and an offensive genius calling the shots in Ben Johnson, just like Tua has with Mike McDaniel. So I think the situations for the 2 quarterbacks are very similar. So I think they are in the same tier, whether you're a Lions fan, whether you're a Dolphins fan, at least as we currently stand. To me, these guys are in the same talent level and the same production level in the NFL. I mean, remember, guys, Jared Goff was the number 1 overall pick in 2016. Tua only went number 5. So I think these 2 are very similar. But the question is, will Tua actually want more than Jared Goff's 4-year, $212 million extension? I'm sure he will want more. I would give Tua the exact same deal that the Lions gave Jared Goff. If you could offer Tua right now, 4 for $212, $170 guaranteed, and $53 a year, and Tua would say yes, I would sign off on it right now if I was Chris Grier and the Miami Dolphins. That feels like a good value for Tua. But just knowing how these quarterbacks want to operate, I'm sure Tua will want to top Jared Goff, because every quarterback wants to be that new setter. And it's not like Tua's going to set the record for money in a contract extension, not even close. But he will want to get more than Jared Goff, that is for sure. He could parlay, I guess, his youth into it, as he is a little bit of a younger quarterback. But then there's also the threat of him having a concussion again and really being done in the NFL, and I'm sure Chris Grier will mention that in negotiations as well. So let me ask you this before I tell you what I would do with Tua in this offseason. Will Tua get more or less than Jared Goff on his extension, assuming he gets one? Type M for more or type L for less? All right, I want to round out today's show by letting you all know what I would do surrounding Tua Tagovailoa and this contract extension. I'm a bit of a gambler. I am. So I would let this year play out. And that is gambling, because if he plays really well and plays all 17 games and the Dolphins make the postseason yet again with him leading the league in passing yards, well, that $55 million contract per year you can get right now is likely going to get to $60 million next offseason. But you do have the 2 years of team control I mentioned earlier in the show, with the ability to use back-to-back years of the franchise tag. And sure, that might make Tua unhappy, but it does buy the Dolphins some time to get an extension done. You also have to take into consideration the injury history with Tua. And I love Tua. I think he is a top 10, top 12 quarterback in the National Football League. But he has had a lot of concussions in the past, and yes, he took jiu-jitsu to try to figure out how to land better, so he didn't have to land on his back and neck and head so often. But the real moral of the story is, like, he gets one more concussion, and we have to seriously consider if he is done in the National Football League. So I don't know if I'd be willing to pay out 4 years, $212 right now, and give him an extension this offseason, because if he gets hurt, he could be done in his career. But if he has another season of playing 17 games and showing up and giving you good productivity on the field, well, then let's get him extended for 4 or 5 years. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Appreciate everyone hopping in for the, I guess, holdout video, if you will. I mean, I don't see it happening, but we'll have it covered on YouTube. I'll have it covered on my social media, so give me a follow at Nic_Rohloff. See you with the video tomorrow, Fins fans. So go Fins.